Chosen one, stop. Do not scroll past this. I am not asking. I am serving you legal notice. There are contracts over your life that you never signed, agreements you never made consciously, covenants that were established without your knowledge, and they have been binding you for years. Tonight, every single one of them is being terminated. This is not a metaphor. This is not poetry. This is a legal procedure. A proceeding happening in the courts of heaven at this very moment. At exactly 3:33 this morning, I was pulled into a vision that exposed something I had never understood before. I found myself standing in heaven's legal archives. Angels were pulling files from shelves that stretched beyond what my eyes could see. Each file contained contracts, spiritual agreements that gave the enemy legal right to operate in human lives. And then I saw your file. It was thick. Page after page of contracts you did not know existed, agreements made through trauma, covenants established through words spoken over you, contracts signed through generational patterns, deals sealed through moments of weakness. The angel holding your file looked at me with urgency. He said, "These contracts have been enforced for years. Every time heaven tried to bless them, the enemy presented a contract. Every time breakthrough was sent, he showed legal documentation. Every time freedom was authorized, he proved he had binding agreements. But tonight, the termination orders have been signed. Every contract is being canceled. Every agreement is being voided. Every covenant with darkness is being destroyed." And then, I heard the voice of God thunder through the archives. He said, "Tell my chosen one that the contracts are terminated. What bound them no longer binds them. What held them no longer holds them. What gave the enemy legal access is being revoked. The termination is effective immediately. That termination is for you. Do not skip this message. Do not scroll away. If you leave before the seventh contract termination is revealed, you leave agreements in place that will continue to operate against you. Stay with me until the end. Every contract must be exposed to be canceled. Before we go deeper, I need you to do something. Type all contracts terminated in the comments below. This is not just typing. This is your signature on the termination order. You are agreeing with heaven that these contracts no longer have power. The legal process requires your consent. Type it now and subscribe immediately. Turn on all notifications. What comes after this video will teach you how to prevent new contracts from being established. Miss it and you will be free but vulnerable to new agreements. Subscribe now. Do not skip what comes next. The Spirit is about to reveal the 7 contracts being terminated over your life. Contract termination 1, the contract of unworthiness. The first contract being terminated is one you did not know you signed. It was established when someone spoke words over you that you internalized. Words that said you were not good enough. Words that said you did not deserve good things. Words that said you were less than others. Maybe it was a parent who compared you to siblings. Maybe it was a teacher who said you would never amount to anything. Maybe it was a partner who made you feel small. Maybe it was your own voice after repeated failures. Whatever the source, a contract was established. The contract of unworthiness, and the enemy has been enforcing it ever since. Every time a blessing was sent to you, he presented the contract. He said this one signed an agreement that they are unworthy. They cannot receive this blessing. It must be redirected to someone who believes they deserve it, and heaven, bound by spiritual law, had to honor what you agreed to. But tonight, the termination order has been signed. Jesus himself approached the bench. He said, "I died for this one. My blood declares their worth. Any contract that says otherwise is fraudulent." It was signed under deception. It was established through lies. I move for immediate termination and permanent voiding of the contract of unworthiness. The gavel fell. The contract was torn. The agreement is void. Romans 8:1 activates over your life. Therefore, there is now no condemnation for those who are in Christ Jesus. No condemnation means no contract of unworthiness. You are worthy because Christ made you worthy. And any agreement that says otherwise has been legally terminated. Within 14 days, you will notice the change. You will receive something good and not feel the need to reject it. You will accept a compliment without deflecting. You will walk into a room without apologizing for existing. The contract of unworthiness is canceled. You are free to receive. Do not skip. The second contract termination is even more powerful. Contract termination to the contract of poverty. The second contract being terminated has kept you financially bound for years. It was established through generational patterns. Your grandparents struggled, your parents struggled, and you inherited the contract. This family will never have wealth. This bloodline is destined for lack. Money will always be a struggle, or it was established through your own words. Every time you said, "I will never be able to afford that." Every time you declared, "Money always runs out." Every time you agreed with scarcity by speaking it over yourself, the enemy collected those words. He drafted them into a contract. He filed it in the spiritual archives, and he has been enforcing it ever since. Every financial blessing sent to you was intercepted. Every opportunity for increase was blocked. Every door to prosperity was locked because there was a legal contract that said you agreed to poverty. But tonight, the termination order has been signed. God spoke with the authority of the ultimate contract holder. He said, "I own all the silver and gold. I am the source of all wealth. Any contract that limits my child's access to provision is unauthorized. The bloodline curse is broken. The poverty agreement is void. The scarcity covenant is terminated. Release their inheritance." Deuteronomy 818 activates over your finances, but remember the Lord your God, for it is He who gives you the ability to produce wealth. The ability to produce wealth is being restored. The contract that blocked it has been terminated. The agreement with poverty is canceled. Within 21 days, you will see evidence. Money will flow where it was blocked. Opportunities will open where they were closed. Provision will arrive where there was lack. The contract of poverty is terminated. You are free to prosper. Hold on. Do not leave. The third contract termination addresses your relationships. Contract termination 3, the contract of rejection. The third contract being terminated has sabotaged every relationship you have tried to build. It was established in childhood. The moment someone who should have loved you chose not to, the moment someone who should have stayed decided to leave, the moment someone who should have protected you chose to harm. In that moment of pain, a contract was drafted. It said, "This one will always be rejected. This one will never be fully accepted. This one will always be left behind," and you signed it, not with a pen, with agreement in your heart, with belief that formed from experience, with expectation that became self-fulfilling prophecy. The enemy has enforced this contract in every relationship since. People who should have stayed were driven away. Connections that should have deepened were sabotaged. Love that should have grown was strangled because there was a contract that said rejection was your destiny. But tonight, the termination order has been signed. Jesus presented evidence to the court. He said, "I was rejected so they could be accepted. I was abandoned so they could be embraced. I was betrayed so they could experience loyalty." The contract of rejection was paid for at Calvary. I move for immediate termination. The gavel fell. The contract was torn. The agreement is void. Romans 15:7 activates over your relationships. Accept one another then just as Christ accepted you. Accepted, not rejected, embraced, not abandoned, chosen, not left behind. Within 21 days, a relationship will shift. Someone who was distant will draw near. A connection you thought was lost will be restored. Acceptance will arrive where rejection once lived. The contract of rejection is terminated. You are free to be loved. Do not skip. The fourth contract termination will set your mind free. Contract termination 4. The contract of mental torment, the fourth contract being terminated, has given the enemy legal access to your mind. It was established through trauma. The moment something happened that your mind could not process, the moment pain exceeded your capacity to cope. The moment your soul fractured to survive, in that moment, a door was opened. A contract was established. It said this one has experienced trauma. This one's mind is now accessible. This one can be tormented without resistance. And the enemy has been enforcing that contract every single day since. The anxious thoughts that never stop, the depressive episodes that come from nowhere, the intrusive thoughts that shame you, the mental battles that exhaust you. These are not chemical imbalances, they are contract enforcements. The enemy has legal right because a contract exists, but tonight the termination order has been signed. Archangel Michael approached the bench with evidence. He said this contract was established through trauma. This one did not choose. It was signed under duress. It was created through wounds inflicted by others. This is not a valid agreement. The Most High never authorized torment as payment for being wounded. I move for immediate termination and permanent eviction of every spirit that has been operating under this fraudulent contract. The gavel fell. The contract was torn. The eviction was ordered. 2 Timothy 1-7 activates over your mind. For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. A sound mind is your legal right. The contract that said otherwise has been terminated. The spirits that enforced it have been evicted. Within 72 hours you will feel the shift. Thoughts that tormented will quiet. Anxiety that gripped will release. Peace will flood in where torment once lived. The contract of mental torment is terminated. You are free to think clearly. Stay until the end of 5th contract termination involves your body. Contract termination 5. The contract of sickness. The 5th contract being terminated has given disease legal right to your body. It was established through words spoken over you. This illness runs in our family. You will probably get this disease too. Your body has always been weak, or it was established through fear. Every time you researched symptoms and claimed them, every time you expected sickness and invited it, every time you agreed with a diagnosis as permanent identity, the enemy took those agreements and drafted contracts. This one has agreed to inherit family illness. This one has claimed sickness through fear. This one has accepted disease as identity, and he has been enforcing those contracts in your body. Cells that should heal remained damaged. Systems that should function remained broken. Recovery that should happen remained delayed because there was legal documentation that gave sickness permission to stay. But tonight, the termination order has been signed. Jesus approached with the ultimate evidence. He did not present arguments, he presented his wounds. He said by these stripes healing was already purchased. Any contract that gives sickness permission to remain is fraudulent. The price was paid. The healing was bought. I move for immediate termination of every agreement that contradicts what Calvary accomplished. The gavel fell. The contract was torn. The agreement is void. Isaiah 53:5 activates over your body. By his wounds you are healed, past tense, already done. Any contract that says otherwise has been terminated. Sickness no longer has legal right to your body. Within 14 days, your body will respond. Symptoms will fade. Strength will return. Something that was wrong will become right. The contract of sickness is terminated. You are free to be healthy. Do not skip. The 6th contract termination goes generations deep. Contract termination 6, the contract of generational bondage. The 6th contract being terminated is the oldest one in your file. It was established before you were born. Maybe generations before an ancestor made a decision, spoke a curse, entered a covenant, opened a door, and that contract has been passed down through your bloodline ever since. The poverty that plagued every generation, the addiction that claimed victim after victim, the broken marriages that repeated like a script, the mental illness that touched every branch of the family tree, the patterns that no one could break no matter how hard they tried. These are not coincidences. These are contract enforcements, generational agreements that give the enemy legal right to operate in your bloodline. But tonight, the termination order has been signed. God Himself spoke the decree. He said, "This bloodline has been under contract long enough." The ancestor who signed did not have authority to bind all future generations. The agreement exceeded its authorization. I am the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I am the God who breaks generational curses. I move for immediate termination of every contract established before this one was born. The bloodline is released. The pattern ends here. This one is the contract breaker. The gavel fell. The ancient contract was torn. The generational agreement is void. Ezekiel 18:20 activates over your lineage. The child will not share the guilt of the parent, nor will the parent share the guilt of the child. You are not bound by what your ancestors signed. The contract has been terminated. The patterns end with you. Within this season, you will see cycles breaking. What repeated for generations will stop. What plagued your family will release you. Your children will inherit freedom, not bondage. The contract of generational bondage is terminated. Your bloodline is free. Stay until the very end. The seventh contract termination is the most powerful of all. Contract termination 7, the contract with death. This is the contract the enemy never wanted you to discover. This is the master agreement that held all the others in place. This is the ultimate contract being terminated tonight. At some point, through trauma, through despair, through pain beyond what you could bear, you made an agreement with death. Maybe it was a moment when you wished you were not alive. Maybe it was a season when you flirted with ending it all. Maybe it was words you spoke in darkness that you thought no one heard. Maybe it was an agreement in your heart that life was not worth living. In that moment, a contract was drafted, the most dangerous contract of all. It said, "This one has agreed with death. This one has welcomed ending. This one has opened the door to destruction, and the enemy has been trying to enforce that contract ever since." The close calls that almost took you, the dark thoughts that almost convinced you, the circumstances that almost broke you completely, the moments when death seemed closer than life, these were not random. They were contract enforcements. The enemy had documentation that said you agreed. But tonight, the master contract is being terminated. Jesus stood in the courtroom with authority that silenced every demon. He said, "I am the resurrection and the life. I hold the keys to death and Hades." This contract is void. It was signed by someone in pain who did not understand the eternal consequences. It was established in a moment of despair, not sound judgment. I paid for this one's life with my own blood. Death has no claim. The contract is terminated. This one will live and not die. This one will fulfill their purpose. This one will see their children's children. The agreement with death is canceled forever. The gavel fell with finality. The contract was not just torn, it was burned. The ashes were scattered across eternity. Death will never be able to reconstruct that agreement. John 10:10 activates over your entire existence. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. Life, full life, abundant life, not death, not ending, not destruction. The contract with death is terminated. You will live. The 7 contract terminations have been completed: unworthiness canceled, poverty voided, rejection terminated, mental torment ended, sickness removed, generational bondage broken, death agreement destroyed. Every contract that gave the enemy legal right to operate in your life has been terminated. Every agreement that bound you has been voided. Every covenant with darkness has been canceled. You are legally free, completely free, permanently free. But I must give you a warning. The enemy will try to establish new contracts. In the next 72 hours, he will present situations designed to get you to agree with old lies. He will try to get you to speak words of unworthiness. He will try to get you to agree with poverty. He will try to get you to accept rejection. He will try to get you to sign new contracts. Do not fall for it. Guard your words. They are legal documents. Guard your thoughts. They are contract negotiations. Guard your agreements. They are binding covenants. What you say matters. What you believe matters. What you accept matters. The old contracts are terminated. Do not sign new ones. Now seal this termination over your life. Say this out loud. Your voice confirms the cancellation. Almighty Father, judge of all contracts, the one whose decisions cannot be appealed, I receive the 7 contract terminations announced over my life. The contract of unworthiness is terminated. I am worthy because Christ made me worthy. The contract of poverty is terminated. I am free to prosper and produce wealth. The contract of rejection is terminated. I am accepted in the beloved. The contract of mental torment is terminated. I have a sound mind protected by God. The contract of sickness is terminated. By his wounds I am healed. The contract of generational bondage is terminated. The patterns end with me. My bloodline is free. The contract with death is terminated. I will live and not die. I will fulfill my purpose. I declare that every agreement with the enemy is voided. I declare that every covenant with darkness is canceled. I declare that the enemy has no more legal right to operate in my life. I declare that I am legally, completely, and permanently free. Father, thank you for reviewing my file. Thank you for terminating every fraudulent contract. Thank you for freedom that cost me nothing but cost you everything. I refuse to sign new contracts with the enemy. I guard my words, I guard my thoughts, I guard my agreements. From this day forward, I only sign agreements with heaven. In Jesus' name, Amen. Heaven recorded that declaration. The terminations are sealed, the contracts are canceled, and the enemy has lost all legal access. Now complete the legal process. First, like this video. This is not about numbers. This is about notarization. When you press that button, you are witnessing the termination. You are confirming that you agree with the cancellation. Do it now. Second, subscribe and turn on notifications. More contracts may be discovered that need termination. More agreements may surface that require cancellation. If you are not subscribed, you will miss future termination orders. Subscribe now. Third, share this video with someone who is still bound by contracts. There is someone in your life operating under agreements they do not know exist. They need to discover what is binding them so it can be terminated. Send this to them. Be the one who serves them legal notice of freedom. Fourth, type all contracts null and void in the comments. Let other chosen ones see the declaration. Let the enemy see his documentation has been destroyed. Let heaven record that you witnessed the termination. Type it now. Chosen one. You came to this video bound by contracts you did not know existed. You are leaving with every agreement terminated. The legal documents that gave the enemy access have been destroyed. The agreements that bound you have been voided. The covenants that limited you have been canceled. This is not motivation. This is not inspiration. This is legal freedom executed in the courts of heaven. Go in liberty. Go in authority. Go knowing that nothing legally binds you anymore. Go knowing that the enemy has no more documentation against you. Go knowing that you are free in every way that matters. The archives of heaven have been updated. Your file now reads, all contracts terminated, and that status is permanent. Walk in your legal freedom. Speak from your legal position. Live as someone whose contracts have been canceled, because they have every single one terminated, voided, canceled forever.